Thanks for tuning in to Raising Bosses. I'm your host, Shauna J. Ray. Here on this podcast, we discuss changing our mindsets, growing a business while raising a family. If that's what you're interested in or currently doing, please stay tuned for what we have ahead. Okay, thank you guys for listening in to Raising Bosses. It's Shauna J. Ray, and today I'm talking to Raynard Wilson with Shore Support. This is a young entrepreneur that has been raising a family, and I know him personally. This is my cousin, and I'm proud to say so. And I would love to pick his brain today and talk to him about his Shore Support Incorporated. Thank you, Raynard, for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So I know we're all busy, and I'm glad you took time out of your very busy day to join me for this interview. And I just have a few questions. Like I said, I want to pick your brain, and, feel free to elaborate on everything.
Okay.
Perfect. So tell me a little bit about yourself for my listeners.
Right. I am 31 years old, born and raised in Petersburg, Virginia. Joined the United States Marine Corps when I was 19. Spent 4 years in, one tour to Iraq. Following my time in the military, I moved to Orlando, Florida, pursued my bachelor's in audio engineering at Full Sail University. Following that, I moved back to Virginia for my master's degree in business administration and project management. And that's where I met my wife, and kind of sowed some roots and chilled out a little bit and started my family and begun my business venture. And that in a nutshell brings us to where we are today.
That is beautiful. Yes, it is a beautiful family you have too. And I do miss when you used to live right, very close to us and you were going to school. I didn't realize you were so busy when you left. That's beautiful. You've never stopped moving.
No. Not at all.
I love that. That's beautiful. Okay, well, you did say you were in the military and you were doing you were going to Full Sail. Were you doing anything else, like another job or anything like that? I know Full Sail is very, strenuous. You can't really work.
No, couldn't work. And I couldn't get, I was trying to get unemployment at that time. I couldn't get that either because they were telling me the school was so demanding that it didn't allow me the opportunity to seek full-time employment. So no, at that time I did school full-time, and thanks to my benefits that I had from the military, post 9/11 GI Bill, it paid for a majority of my school, and it also paid me a living expense. That's how I was able to maintain and focus on school 100% at that time.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's good. You got to think your tour and everything, your service to America. That's beautiful. That's a good, you get to build on it. I love that. So tell me a little bit about your business.
What we do now is we have a group home, which a lot of people aren't familiar with, or it may not be, so I'll try to break that down as much as I can on a basic level. We provide a residential living structure in a community environment, and we establish supports for individuals that have intellectual disabilities and developmental disabilities. We put nurses and also what we call direct care support personnel in place for these individuals 24 hours a day, every day of the year, holidays included. And the main goal of this is to integrate these individuals back into the community setting. A little background on this is in the state of Virginia, we have these mental facilities throughout the state, maybe 5 of them positioned northeast, southwest, and central Virginia. And what these establishments did, they took care of individuals with these developmental disabilities and these intellectual disabilities on like a premise in an enclosed space that was away from the community environment. And a few years ago, we had Governor, at the time, Governor Warner. He decided that we were treating these people as if they were prisoners or inmates.
Oh my
and I
goodness.
think he passed a beautiful law at that time that says because someone is born with these type of disabilities, they should not be confined to a facility that is separate from a normal living environment. So he passed a law, basically says we're going to empty out all of these facilities over the next amount of years, and we want these individuals integrated into the community as much as possible because why are they being locked away in
up?
facilities?
Exactly.
So once that happened, I kind of caught that in the news, and I was like, oh man, this is a business opportunity, and this is a huge wave, and it's also going to be great for the community as a whole to help integrate these individuals. And then that's when I began the journey to try to find out what it is that I could do to be a part of that.
It's so beautiful that you said that, like, you know, once the bill was passed, you kind of got this bright idea. And I hear a lot of people say, you know, you have to find the problem and figure out how you can fix it. And you did just that, and that shows in your successes. So that's amazing. This is very intricate. You know, you're dealing with other people's lives. Like, you've actually done something that is like it's positive. It brings out, you know, just, how do I put it? It's amazing. Like, it's not something easy. Like, a lot of people start something in home, or maybe it's even brick and mortar, but like, they're not dealing with other people's lives. So I have to applaud you there. That's amazing. That is amazing. And another thing I like to see is when people go to school for one thing, because I know you did have a passion for music, and, you know, sometimes we don't always, you know, find our way from our passions, and that's fine. Or maybe they're back burner or whatever. I go through that as well. But it's beautiful that you went to school for business later, and then you came back and you did something. I know your business degree did help, but you did something completely different from what you were literally trained as in the military, and also, you know, for school. That's really amazing. So you started this business without any prior knowledge on a group home or nursing home or anything like that, right?
Nope, only other than what I heard, and I knew someone that had also been who was in it as well, which was maybe like a year before me. And he was passing me information like, hey, this is what's going to happen, and this is how that works, and you can do it. And then my brother, who has a mental health business, which is very close, but it falls under a different license. It's similar, except for he provides like counseling services in the community, whereas he goes out and talk to those individuals where they are, and my services is residential inside of the home. So he was familiar with it, and he was telling me like, hey, you need to do something, either do that program or do this program. So I had a couple of people trying to push me in two different directions, and then my ultimate decision was I knew how to do exactly what it was that my brother was doing at the time, because I kind of helped him establish his company, and I worked for him a little bit to get it set up. So I knew how to do that. However, I wasn't kind of leaning toward it. And then when I heard about the residential thing, I was like, so basically the first thing I need is a house. And then I checked my credit score, and I said, I can do that. And then I need a 20% down payment. Then once again, hey, let's talk about this, you know, this military experience that I have and this VA home loan. What does that entail?
Lots of you get lots of like discounts and things that helped you with that.
I
beautiful.
No, I didn't have to make a down payment at all. I could just walk into the house, and the only catch with that is I would have to live there for 2 years before I can use it for anything other than my primary use. And I knew the process at the time for the licensing at that time was about a 3-year process. So I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to live in the house, and I'm going to get this thing set up for the next few years. So that's what happened. So the roadmap for me, it was like I knew I could put those checks in the box and began to, you know, start the journey faster than if I would have chose any other program.
Wow, you answered my next question quite thoroughly. I mean, that's like a lot of the technical stuff right in itself. So like if it's not too much to ask, like how did you acquire like staff and set up the business, that business part?
Oh my God. Okay,
It's a
so
lot.
right. So I'll try to do it in a chronological order. Um, First, I had to put in these policies and procedures for this program. Ended up being maybe like 200 plus page document, which I did that myself. It took me almost a year to write that. So that was like 1 year in that process. After I had got the house, then I began to write the policies and procedures. So I want to say maybe this was October 2014, and I completed it in August of 2015. So short of a year, I began writing these policies and procedures. And also, I don't want to forget to add this. The state provides this guidance where they kind of say, hey, this is Virginia code number, let's say, 123. This needs to be addressed. They will tell you these codes that needed to be addressed. And then you can go on a website, you can pull up these codes, and then the codes will say, you need to address how you will safeguard record keeping, or what is your organizational structure, and it was almost spelled out for you. You just had to really want to do it. So I just kind of went through all the codes one by one that applied to my program, figured out what I wanted to do, and then try to reference them with state laws and things of that nature. So, like 10 months later, I had that part done, and then I submitted it. The review for that was maybe about 2 years.
Wow, this is not something that you just wake up one morning and do in a month. This has really been long term, and you really stuck with it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You've invested a lot. I'm not saying you would have just given up. I meant like it's intense, and it's a lot behind it.
You're dealing with people's lives, and it's state funded, and
Beautiful.
Those funds are even handed down to the state from a federal standpoint. So it's definitely controlled to a certain, to a certain extent of what they want and what criteria you need to meet. Because at the end of the day, if you don't, they definitely want to not spend that money if they don't have to, and especially if you're not, if you're not providing the best care for the individuals in your program. So after 2 years, they reach back out to me and say, hey, here's the initial review of your policies and procedures. Over the years, 1, 2, 3 has changed. It's been updated. It's now this. Can you now update X, Y, and Z and send those back out? So I would do that. And then, that happened like 2 times back and forth. And then finally, they were like, all right, your policies and procedures are 100% approved. Now, at this point, you need to go out and hire adequate staffing to prove that you can service the community. And at that time, maybe about 6 months, I started to journey through hiring staff, making sure that they were qualified. That was probably the most painful part of the process, because I would say this, a lot of things that you have control over going through this. So if you fail or you succeed, you can kind of look in the mirror and say it's your fault. But when you're dealing with other people, you no control. You just kind of got to roll with the punches and figure out the best way to do it. So the first 3 or 4 months, I did a ton of interviews, and I finally came down with this. And I only needed about 6 people to start the program. I needed like 4 of direct support professionals. I needed like a house manager. And then I needed someone that's a program director with a certain qualification. That's maybe like bachelor's to a master's level in clinical kind of like social work, things along that line. So I finally got these people, and the direct support personnel that I had, all of them, I paid for their training, CPR, first aid, the normal things that you would think someone would need that's dealing with individuals. So I pay for these, and we get to one particular training, which was like the last training. I want to say it was a Medicaid administration type of a training, and no one showed up. It was the final training I had to do. I probably already put over $600 worth of training into each one of these people individually, and no one showed up on that day. I called all of them. None of them contacted me. I take that back. I'm sorry. One guy showed up. However, I contacted everyone. They never responded to me. To this day, the one guy hit me back the following week and was like, hey, I found another job. So that I ended up at zero. I reached back out. I talked to the person that was helping me, who had told me to get into the business to begin with. And I told him the dilemma that I had. And he kind of said, oh, well, yeah, just hire people that are already qualified. Why are you wasting your time bringing people up to date? And that's
people are not ready for that. They're not gonna, you know what I mean? That's the sad part.
And as simple as that was, it hadn't crossed my mind. I was like, wait a minute, it's people out there that's already qualified that would want to work for me as a new company. I thought I probably, it was like, no. So I went back on Indeed, I readjusted the listing, and I kind of put it out like, hey, must meet these criteria and whatever. And, within a few days, I had another like 20 candidates, and all of them met the criteria and would be ready to work if need be as soon as possible. So I end up hiring the people from that tranche, and I reached out to the state and I said, hey, we're ready to go. And the state, they sent me a licensed specialist is what they call it. A licensed specialist came out to the house. She inspected every inch of the house, made sure there was nothing that people could possibly do to hurt themselves on. Did we have knives put away? Are the policies good? Doing her job. And then she checked all of my people's paperwork. Did I do my background checks? It's a very, very, very thorough inspection.
Yeah, I'm sure of it. Because like you said, you're dealing with people's lives, you're dealing with their health, you're dealing with, mental and physical health. So you need, especially with the world the way it is today, it's only getting worse, sadly.
Yep, they wanted it all. So we met the criteria, and good job. You passed. We'll be mailing you your license. As of today, you can begin, operating. Feel free to go ahead. Your license will be in the mail. And that's also in a nutshell how that process ended up working from the policy to the licensing standpoint.
So once you had everything set up, this long, tedious process that was in the end worth it, what did you do to show people, like, I have this, did you have to do anything? Was it kind of just
Absolutely.
Registered in a registrar, or, did you have to promote it in some way, or go to, a picket, what is it called? Go to different places and say, hey, we could take some people off your hand.
Yeah. Not that easy. I wish it was. So yeah, you have to, so there is like a licensing database on the state's website. And then also you have to market, and you have to market heavy, because it's a very competitive field. And when you're the newest person out and you have someone that says, oh, we've been in business for 10 years, it's already known that this person or this company can provide the services. And then I show up, it's like, hey, we're a new group home. We've never done this before. Send us your people. You know what I mean? We want to make sure they survive with our zero experience. So a lot of people are kind of like, who are you again? Have anybody ever heard of them? No, not really. So it's difficult. I'm still in the process. So at this moment, I don't have a client in my house yet. We just got licensed in December, and then I reached out and got a ton of marketing material, notebooks, pens, pads, backpacks, business cards. I did all of that from December to January. January is when we began our marketing push. And then I reached out to a lot of people that I had already knew that may have been in the community, or people that had went to college for like social work, and just kind of like, hey, do you know anybody in the field that's doing, the term would be case manager or support coordinator would be the individuals that are responsible for placing some of the persons into the programs that fit their needs. And these are still operated by the state, and the funding goes through what they call a community service board. So I reached out to a lot of these community service boards. They're all over the state of Virginia, almost in every district. I just pretty much sent like marketing material to every last single one of them. I want to say it's over like 50 plus. I sent material to all 50 of them throughout the state of Virginia, followed up with them, resent all 50 of them things on email. And then slowly I started building little contacts. It was like, we don't have nothing now. If we do, we'll keep you in mind. And I'm just at the point where I'm still just kind of fostering relationships. And I finally have one person that this week actually sent me 2 referrals that we have to follow up on and, do some background check and set up some tours of the house. And if that goes well, then maybe we'll be placing our first client sometime soon.
That's beautiful. I didn't realize how fresh it was.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's very fresh.
Wow.
Especially
you've
being
still done
that
so much.
I'm sorry, say again?
I said, especially that you've done so much.
I know.
Like you've already
hurts.
been able to, no, not in a bad way. Like it's amazing. Like, it took a long time. This is a new thing. Like you just explained, there's so much you had to do. And
right.
even still, even to have, that every business, they don't, everything's not jumping right off the bat. And you're only 2 months in, barely. So to me, that's like the first 2 days. That's not.
Yes. Yeah.
And you've already got client, and you haven't even started your push yet. So once you get your push going, then things will trickle in from there. That's amazing.
Right. But it's really like 4 years in the making. Just like the first, I guess, 3 years and 10 months has been like behind the curtain, though.
That's how it is. They say, you hear a lot of like books that say, oh, nobody's success was overnight.
Right.
People are pushing and pushing and pushing, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, like I said, it's not going to just happen, you're not just going to like open doors and then everybody's going to become flooding in.
Oh, absolutely not.
But when you start your push and everything, then you're going to get that, momentum and things like that. That's beautiful.
People are saying, who are you? They're not saying it, but I know they are when I reach out to them, and they'd be like, you are who, with what company? I'm like, yeah, this is Raynard, and I'm with Shore Support Inc. They say, what company again? Shore Support Inc. They're like, what's your website? So I already know they're not familiar with it. So I'm still doing the marketing and I'm still doing the push. And it's just a lot of people out there. You kind of have to create a network to the point where you need to service someone first, and then you need to be reliable. And these support coordinators need to be able to count on you. So, and keep in mind, we're dealing with people with intellectual disabilities and developmental disabilities. So sometimes they come with behaviors.
Yes.
Some better than others and some worse than others. So if you can deal with, I guess, these behaviors that are classified as difficult, then you start to build relationships that way, where someone might call you and say, hey, I know last time I reached out to Shore Support Inc., they took on a behavior that some of these more established group homes, they have the option to say, we'll pass. We're doing good. We got 17, 20 houses. We don't really have to take anyone. But I feel like I'm in a position where I need to prove myself, so I might be open to taking on that case that a bigger company might look at as difficult.
That's amazing because, growing up, I actually used to help my mom in the nursing homes. So I know firsthand exactly what you're talking about. And that's why I was asking those type of questions, because I remember that, I was like 13 years old. So I remember, like you said, the behaviors and the staff, and it was hard and things like that. And, for you to open this up all on your own, it will soon be a name that people know. And like down here, I don't know if it's everywhere, but there's like a Brookstone, and I noticed that Brookstone has been like everywhere so far. I think it's just a nursing home, but your name will be that common where you'll be able to branch out soon.
Exactly.
And with a name like that, I love that name because the branding on that name is going to be so easy to not only say, but we're going to know, you know what I mean? Like it's just I don't know. There's something about the naming on that one, like Shore Support. You know what I mean?
I thought it was perfect.
You'll be sure that they're good here. Like, you know what I mean? We have all the support. We have everything you need. Like, it's all in the name. So that's really, really nice. Like, that is really amazing. And do you have any, like, I know you kind of touched on it, but what made you kind of, like, really motivated for this? Like, what was like, you know what? I have to do this right now.
I hate working for other people.
Don't we all?
I mean, you know, like exactly. That's the biggest part of it. Really, is that I just, especially when I came out of the military and then I went to school. So I really hadn't. I guess we can call it. Let's call it real world. I haven't really worked in the real world. So I joined the military when I was 19, and the military is different. So it never felt like you were doing a 9 to 5 when you were in the military. It just felt like you were doing a 24/7 always, and then your job kind of became your life and vice versa. So work, even though, you know, you work hard in the military, it just never felt like work. It just felt like this is a part of my life. And then when I got out and I started trying to, you know, work in the real world, I was like, oh God, this is different. People are different. It's real bureaucratic. It's weird to me. You have people, they're biting each other's heads off to be acknowledged by someone else in someone else's business, and it's all circumstantial, and it's definitely subjective. I got to get this evaluation that has a number associated with it, and you're telling me I'm like a 2, a 3, a 4, maybe a 5. I don't want to be a 5 for you. I'd rather be a 1 for myself, and it's more valuable than, you know. So a lot of that, I was just like, I don't want to be the person that makes somebody rich.
Your description, your explanation was bone chilling. It was. I like literally. I'm sitting here a little bit shook because you're right. That's like something that slowly gets to you, and
oh my God, yeah.
Like the pencil pushing and the numbering system, like that's bone chilling the way you explained it.
And it's even worse when you have superiors that you don't align with in anything, and then you wake up and you be like, I feel like these people at work are out to get me because I don't practically relate to them. And I was in that situation where I wanted to do this thing, but I was taking my time with it. And then I was in that situation. I was like, I don't really like my boss. I need to hurry up.
Do you consider yourself, I'm gonna assume you consider yourself, do you consider yourself a creative?
Absolutely.
So I've always read that creatives, we have a problem with not necessarily following authority, but it's something about like you said, that like I can't be up under somebody. I just can't. I have to be doing this and you want me to do this. And as creatives, we don't mesh with people that don't get that. We don't mesh well with people that are like, no, I have to sit at my desk and 9 to 5 and da-da-da-da, and I have to go here and the manager and serve this and miss that. And we don't even think about, we're putting money in their pockets and they're giving us a dime back.
Oh my, yes. And this is not to knock on anyone, because some people, they enjoy their job and that's what they want to do. However, you know, I'm speaking from the point of someone who did not want to do that and still does not want to do that. And I'm outspoken, especially if I feel that it's wrongdoing.
Isn't that just our family, though?
Man, oh my goodness, all the way up and down from the top to the bottom. One day I was at work and I honestly didn't like the way they were doing something. I can't quite say what it was. And I was like, I got a suggestion, a better way to do this, a lot easier, and it'll save us time and money. And I was trying to pitch that up, but I'm like the new guy there. I'm also like way at the bottom of the totem pole. So nobody really was kind of trying to hear it. And I was like, forget my boss. I'm going to my boss's boss. I went to my boss's boss and I was like, I'm having issues with my boss. And you say you have an open door policy. I want to talk to you about it. So he said, let's go to lunch. We went to lunch. And I told him, like, hey, at the time I must have been like, I don't know, 26 maybe. And I was like, hey, I'm the youngest person here, and I have a master's degree in project management and business administration, and I have an idea for how we can manage this process, and we can save money and time. And I'm kind of explaining to him, like, you guys aren't utilizing me to my fullest potential. I gave you a resume that outlined my quality and my skills. And he was pretty much like, are you giving your job 100%? I was like, absolutely. And then he was on some like, well, you can't do much more than that. She's the boss. And then I was like, you know what? He's not going to align with me either, because he put her in place. And it was at that point I was like, why am I even exerting myself this way to be unappreciated?
Wow. Again, with the bone-chilling explanations. And we don't often realize, you get these things that they're always asking, well, how can we do better? How can we do this or whatever? And then it's like, when people actually have something, I read something, I'm always reading, but I read something somewhere. I want to say it was either The Slight Edge or maybe 4 Hour Work Week. It was one of those books. I read so many that sometimes they just start to blur together.
Hey, your book list, your list is insane. I seen you posting a few of them. I was like, man, I got to keep up with Cuz.
Yeah, like I'm always, so there was this book and it was talking about exactly what you said. It was basically saying like, it's hard to talk to any superior because they have that superiority complex. So it's going to be that kind of, what do you know? Like if your son came up to you and was like, I know how to fix this car. Sir, have you finished elementary school yet?
You know what I mean? And without even asking, he might actually have a gift from God. And I'm not going to give him a chance.
Kids watch things, and so we don't always acknowledge that. So that's basically what it is. And then you go, sir, you haven't finished elementary school. I've already finished college. I didn't took my car. I had how many cars and did it, your mom's car, whatever. How are you going to tell me how to fix the car? And your son's sitting there like, wait, I don't understand. Like, what do you mean? And then you go to the mechanic and the mechanic says, oh, well, you could have just done this. Well, dang, that's exactly what my son told me.
Right. And then I'm gonna have to go home and be mad at him now because I gotta question myself with all of my years of experience. How is it, how am I so far behind him?
Well, I mean, it goes both ways though, because like sometimes, like you said, you saw them doing something that you felt would have been faster and easier and more efficient, and you probably were right because I've been there. I actually, you know what's so funny? I actually did that one time when I have a very, very good version of just that. So when I was about, let's say, no more than 8. I don't even think I was that old. And you remember my grandfather had his embroidery shop.
Right, absolutely.
So I used to help him after school, and one day he was doing the shirts. So when you do the shirts, you have to put the template down, and then you take the iron and you press the iron, then you peel the template off when it's cool.
Right.
And he was doing this one by one by one. And I looked at him and I said, have you heard of the assembly line method? And he looked at me. Mind you, I can't be more than 8. I really think I was even younger than that.
Yeah.
And he's like, what are you talking about?
But you've always been smart, though, so don't discredit yourself.
Oh, thank you. Wow. Thank you so much. Well, he was looking at me and my grandfather is not the, he's a Leo.
I know.
He's not easy to suggest things to. He's very strong. And he looked at me at first and he said, what do you mean? I said, well, Henry Ford did the assembly line method and you should do things all in batches. Make sure you put all the templates down, then iron all of them, and then peel all of them in section like that. And he said, okay, hold on. Let me do it. Let me try it. Reluctantly. It was a little, a 5-year-old, 6-year-old's telling you to do whatever the heck in Henry Ford. I literally remember this.
But his goal.
He actually, yes.
His goal was to prove you wrong, though.
Probably. Really? It might have been. I don't know, but he did it, and he looked at me, he turned around, he said, you know what, this is so much faster. And the only reason I knew this was because my husband makes fun of me all the time. I love documentaries. I love reading. And so at the time, I think I had watched a documentary on Henry Ford, or I used to watch a lot of History Channel and Discovery Health and all that. So I think I was watching something, and they talked about the assembly line. And they talked about how you don't do things one by one. You do things all in batches, all in the, let's do all this one set at one time, all this at one time. And when he did it, he started doing that there on after, because it is faster. And so sometimes there's a superiority complex, but if they're willing to break it, we can either figure out the person's wrong or right. But also, what if I would have never said anything, and he would have still been doing it slowly, or it would have taken him more days to do it, whatever it is. But it's funny, I just thought about that in my explanation, and that has actually happened to me. So it's good that you tried. Everybody should out there try, but also it's about how you approach the situation. I can't speak on how you approach the situation. It doesn't matter if somebody has a superiority complex. It's not going to matter how you approach them, because you've challenged them in some form.
Yeah, and my question to myself then was, do they fear that I threaten their position if they allow me to do things that they couldn't think of themselves?
Of course.
So I tried to understand it, and then I was like, well, they actually enjoy this whole little working environment, and they're trying to move up this chain, so they actually need to protect their positioning. And then I started getting weird understandings of it. And then I started
understandings.
Yeah, I started to recluse more. And I was like, I can't play this game with them because I don't want to be a part of it. So I just end up being, what do you want me to do? Yep. I used to go in and try to change the system and do a lot more, but I started working 8-hour days, getting done only what was asked of me to do.
And that's a lot of what happens with a lot of people in, big companies of any sort. I'm speaking from the grounds of any type of service. And it's I've been beaten down. And also some people aren't as smart to understand. Their smarts aren't in the area of understanding how to do things better or more or whatever. I mean, it's sad to say, but it leaves people that, like us, that don't want to be stuck in that situation. It kind of leaves them downtrodden and zombified.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Looking at the clock okay. When's it going to be over? Exactly. Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Oh, your words on your explanations are bone chilling. I think it's because it's kind of if you've ever worked in any position, even if you liked it, even if it's just your parents, just why do I have to do this? And it's you sit there and say, well, you have to do this, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to feed your kids. Right. And that's the struggle of being a creative and trying to figure yourself out, finding your place, and trying to do better. Because I know, I was reading something on Facebook the other day, and everybody was kind of attacking this person because she kind of blamed her job for killing her baby, basically, not to get sour note, but I was in the position of feeling if she was pregnant and she worked herself so hard based on what her job told her to do, it wasn't because she was blaming her job. It's because she felt lost, maybe hopeless, maybe stuck. And a lot of people feel that way. And a lot of people, sadly, it kind of is that way because, if you're not working, well, where are you going to get your money? And welfare is not an easy thing to just, and you're not going to be in the position on government assistance to just flourish. It doesn't work that way. So it's I keep reading the same thing over and over again that says jobs, they want you to be tired so that you don't come home and try to better yourself, so that you don't have time to figure out what you want to do. So you don't have time to be okay, I want to push myself. Everybody sees that I do a lot. And the thing is that I do a lot while doing 1,000 other things. Right. So, if, when on my free time, I'm taking my kids to the pool, I'm in front of my computer. I'm writing a blog post. On my days off, I'm batch recording videos for my YouTube.
You're juggling every day.
Exactly. And so it's like, yes, I'm tired. I work until 10 o'clock at night. And so at night, sometimes for the longest time, I've been going to bed really, really late and like just like throwing myself off and just being really, really tired. And I was like, okay, I have to reset because I have to be here for the girls in the daytime. But I still got to figure what I need to do out because I can't let the 9 to 5 set me back. So like I'm off today. I'm doing this
However,
interview.
the 9 to 5 is funding some things.
Exactly.
Man.
Yeah, it's a weird. It's what do they call it? Catch-22 or whatever. It's like
absolutely.
You got to do what you got to do. And when kids come into play, that was in a blog post of mine too. It's like I always stress to people. Not everybody on this podcast that's listening to the podcast is going to be a parent. And I tell people it's not about that you have to be a parent to listen to it. It's about hearing entrepreneurs' struggles and well wishes and things that they did to build themselves up. That was my idea because I wanted to learn from this.
Right.
But the thing is, when people don't have kids, I see a lot of people that don't have kids and they're like, oh, I want to do this, and this, but I have to work this day and I want to go have fun this day and da-da-da. And it's not that you can't do that. It's that you're not going to have time to do it the way you want to, because when I had Leilani, and I had her very young, and I'm not afraid to talk about how I had her very young, and I remember just kind of, I got to work. I have to provide for my child. My husband, he's like, I have to work. I have to, provide for my family. We got a house. We had to pay bills. And so
all that.
I set back into my mind. I was like, I have to do my work. So I actually worked out of the house for years, and I would come home. I would go work early, come home late, and look at I had a whole room just for my sewing equipment, and I didn't utilize it. I tried to do YouTube, and I was like, I got burnt out, and I just didn't take time out to really push myself. And Leilani was such an easy baby. I had so much help with her. I could kind of toss her if I needed a couple of days, like over the weekend. They wanted to have their granddaughter for the weekend. My mom wanted to have her. Like, I never had that issue. And it wasn't until Athena was born that I was like, wow, I really wasted the time that I had, not even as not being a mom. I do regret that as well, because again, I had time and it was easy, and my mom really prepared me for things. But it was that when I had those 2 times, I had time without being a parent, and then I had a time with being a parent with an easy child. Then I had a child that, a rough pregnancy. I had a whole nother kid in school. There was more to do. This one didn't take a bottle. There was no, let me give her to her dad for the day.
And you're running out of hands now.
Exactly. And then when I would try to, I always tell this to people, like, I'm not boasting about it when I say it. The first fashion show that I did, I was very swamped, and I had 2 weeks to complete my line. I did it in 2 weeks, but I also did it with a 6-month-old hanging off of me the whole day. So I would work, and then after work, like I said, I worked until late. I would get off the computer, and then I would start sewing. And then every 2 hours, she's, hanging off of me. And it's like, I regretted the time that I wasted. And I always tell people, you have to push. You have to push. Like, yes, you're going to be tired. Do you think everybody just like drifted through and got where they were? Like, no, they found ways to get through those days where, they juggled their kids somewhere, or they juggled their kid themselves. Like, there was not, literally, like, my husband had to sleep because he had to be working in the morning. I worked at home. As long as I can, drool over my computer in the morning, I'm fine.
Right.
But I can't say, hey, take the baby, and I couldn't give her a bottle. Like, you know what I mean? So I hate to see people waste their time because their job is too much or whatever. And it's like, I push people a lot. I always stress to people that, and I feel like I'm kind of like Nazi-esque about it. I'm like, no, you have to do this. Da, 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 da. But it's like, when you've lived through that, you kind of don't want to see anybody else go through it.
You don't know how valuable that time is, though, until you are in a situation where you have no free time, and then you go, oh my God, I miss when I didn't have to do X, Y, and Z, and the things that I could have done then.
Ooh.
And it's still not too late at that point.
It's not.
And I think a lot of people, they kind of end up getting buried in fear. And so they end up just getting like further behind and be like, well, I wanted to do this, but that would have been a good time. And speaking of raising bosses, I definitely do not like when people say that having kids is an excuse or a reason why something isn't accomplished or why they're
Thank
not
you.
working to
Preach.
accomplish something.
Preach.
I'm like, if anything, I'm like, if you couldn't find motivation through that, I doubt you find it anywhere.
Anywhere. And you know what's so funny? I was just talking to a photographer, the last interview that I did a couple of days ago, and we were discussing that because, again, I put so many things on hold because I figured I needed to provide for my family. I needed to make sure there's money. I can put off sewing school. I can put off pushing myself. I can put off, not only I gave myself, I think I just wrote a blog post about it too. I put off because this is what I had to do, and I didn't push myself, but I didn't blame having a kid. It wasn't that. I blamed myself because I let myself be lazy. I let myself be, not push myself. And then I woke up one day. It's actually funny. There was a couple of things that woke me up. One day, a friend of mine told me, I was talking to him and he basically told me, I've always been an old soul and I've always felt like I'm running out of time. Like, you know me all my life. And I've always felt like I was running out of time and like, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I had this weird like feeling. And he said, you're not running out of time. Everything happens exactly the time it's supposed to happen. He said, you're still young. And at the time I must have been about 26. 25 or something like that. And I think I wasn't even pregnant with my second child yet. And I said, you know what? I have to just start doing this. I have to just put myself out there. I mean, there was a whole bunch of like self doubt and things that also took place. But it was also, like I said, the physical thing. I didn't push myself. And I sat down, I said, you know what? Let me just do this. So I started slowly doing stuff. And when I say slowly, I started, sewing every day and putting things together, posting on social media slowly, and then I kind of let it sit. Got on YouTube and let it sit. And one day, it was a little after I had Athena, I really started like promoting everything, like pushing it on social media back to back to back. And do you know, within about 2 weeks, somebody was like, oh, we're having a fashion show and an art showcase and we want you to be in it. The crazy part of this was this showcase I'd been trying to be in for the last like 4 or 5 years, and they never wrote back to me.
No effort though.
Exactly this time it's something that it's one of those art showcases that you're just supposed to be able to like, kind of submit yourself and you kind of get in already. And they never wrote me back. And so I got all that handled. And like I said, and then I had Athena hanging off of me doing my whatchamacallit. And it's like, I never made my kids an excuse. It just made me showed me, how poorly I was doing at pushing myself. And it's like, we can't give ourselves excuses. We can't. I hate when people say, oh, you had your kids so young, like now you can't travel the world. No, I'm traveling the world, and guess who's coming with me? Like, right. I don't understand. Like, it's not gonna be easy. You can say now it's more difficult because that's gonna cost more coin. Mm-hmm. That's gonna be more luggage. Mm-hmm. That's gonna be more work, and I accept that.
And less space on the bed.
Less space. Let me tell you, this king size bed ain't built big enough for all of us.
Oh my God, man.
I'm trying to tell you.
So when I had my first son, I used to just sing songs. I used to be like, we three deep in the queen. We three deep in the queen. It used to be me, my wife, and my son, all in like a queen size bed. And my son got sick not too long ago, and so and my daughter, she was already in the bed with us. And I looked at my wife. I said, "Man, it used to be 3 deep in the queen. Now we 4 deep in the king." It still sucks. It still sucks.
Have you seen, just to get off topic, have you seen that not California king, not even the California king, they have like a double king for family co-sleeping, for like big family co-sleeping? Nope. I'm like, that everyone needs that. If you have any type of kids, you need that. If you have a toddler, you need 3 of those.
Right. Like, so you have no room. Your room is just bed.
Sleeping where? Right. Sometimes me and my husband just go, like when they pile into the one bed, we just go in their bed. I've done that. I can't. They have a full size bed. I just go in there. I'm like, you know what? Y'all are good. It's so true. Actually, talking about your family, could you maybe touch on like how you might involve your family in your business? Maybe how you introduce your kids to it. Maybe I know they're still really little.
Yeah,
but anything.
Point, my son, he is 4 now. And my daughter, she will be 1 next Friday. So I haven't really introduced them to it yet. As far as my son goes, I just kind of try to teach him about money and let him know that it's like a real thing. You don't just click an iPad and buy something with imaginary money. So that's what I focus with him on, and just kind of do things like, he has a piggy bank. So just, give me like 4 quarters out of your piggy bank and let me keep it. And then next week I'll give you 8 quarters back, and just give it back to him. Be like, that was a smart investment. And, subconsciously like plant things in his
Loaning
mind.
people. Yeah,
Right.
I like that.
And just make sure that he
Interest.
understands the money. Money it's real. It can get you things. And if you don't have it, you can't get certain things. So stop asking us to buy all these video games on your iPad.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that is actually something, some people, I hate when people think that you can't teach kids significant things very young. That's the best time to teach them. Now, again, I was working when Leilani was really small, so I didn't get the opportunity to touch on that, but I am working on it now with her. And I told her the other day, I said, you help me around the house, and yeah, y'all mess up, but you also clean it up. And I said, but mommy needs more help than that. I need help with my technical side of things. So she knows how to use YouTube and stuff. She has her own channel and things like that. So I said, I would love if you would help mommy with, kind of clerical work. And I said, mommy's going to pay you. And I want to show her, because she is at that age where it's like, daddy, buy me this, mommy, buy me this. And, she's a little spoiled, not going to lie. She's a little spoiled. It's her dad's fault.
They think you have unlimited money.
Yes. And it's like, oh, well, you got paid today, so mommy, you can buy me this. No, we have bills, we have food. Yeah, maybe Christmas, your birthday, or, maybe we'll get that. But like, not right now, not today, maybe next week. And they don't understand it. And my youngest is, ever since she could talk, okay, not even since she could talk, she's been talking forever. Ever since she could walk, she would ask for, if she saw a candy machine, she would ask, mommy, can I have $1? 1 year old. Mommy, can I have $1? Why do you know what money is?
What are you going to do with it?
Why do you understand that money goes in the machine and you get candy back? So I started kind of like playing with her. Now she's only 3. She'll be 4 in August. But I started playing with the coins. They grab coins off the floor. They find a penny or something. And I started talking to her about what the coins are. And I'm trying to figure out like different ways to kind of get them both understanding on money. And,
right.
I want to do savings. Like I told my daughter, I was like, if you work for mommy, it would be $5 a day, but $250 of it's going to go in your bank account. Right. And the other $250 is not your chore. It's not your, she has I call it her treasure box money. We have this thing called Five Below. It's like a dollar store, but everything's no more than $5. And every week after she's done her schoolwork and her chores and things, kind of like allowance, she gets to spend $5 at this Five Below, maybe sometimes more. And she gets that money, and I said, that's aside from that money. So that means at the end of the week, you're going to have this money to spend on whatever you'd like. And I want you to start understanding money. I want you to understand that, like, if you want to go to the to Fun Spot, which is it's like King's Dominion, it's like a theme park. And oh, you still live here, you know what that is. So
yeah.
If you want to go there, you have the money. Right, and you don't have to ask us for it. Yes. You don't have to beg us for it. You don't have to worry, if you want money. Your own money. And it's something you actually worked for, because that's another thing. It's like, yeah, you're working for your Five Below money, but I need you to be working for and have incentive, because I always like to give my kids incentive. I prefer positive reinforcement. That's what my mom did. Always like, okay, well, if you do this, this, and this, we get to go here, you get to do this. And, so they're rewarded for their work, because my kids work hard.
Proud of it as well. When they have to earn something, you realize like, oh, I just can't get another one of these if I ask for it. This thing took time to accomplish. And that's what I'm trying to get, because my kids, I've always wanted to spoil my kids, and spoil them as far as like, we always had a freaking King's Dominion annual pass. And I'm not talking about like spoiling them, giving them everything they want, but giving them the experiences absolutely
that I had or wanted to have, travel, things like that. Like, okay, yeah, you want to go to this place? Let's go do this thing. And, they've gotten to that point, but they think like, oh, we can just up and go.
Oh, yeah.
And I like the way you put, like, you need to earn that. And I keep stressing to her. And my youngest is just as smart. She's just smaller. So I'm like, I have to figure out ways to explain that to her too. If you do this, then you get the lollipop. Make sure the room is clean. She has to put away her clothes. My kids work really hard. And it's like that's how I was always taught. And I'm pretty sure I did it. I don't remember, but it's like, I don't want you to think that everything is just handed to you. I don't care what you look like. I don't care what you can do if it's not what I need. And it's like you have to be able to work for what you want. And it's like that's the whole thing about raising bosses. And they see you. The photographer I was talking to, she talked about the kids see you. They see, daddy gets up every day and, he's calling this person and this person meeting. And, maybe he's not home for a few hours because he has to go here and go there. And it's like they see all of that. And we have to explain to them what we're doing. And that was another reason I wanted to introduce my daughter to what I'm doing, because I want her to kind of figure out some things now that she can kind of, grow on it later. I want you to learn things that I learned at freaking 23 years old. When I worked at that job in downtown, I learned things that you would learn from a business degree. And I was just a secretary. Isn't it? It is. It really is. And, there was a lady that told me that she sees a lot of my kids in me. And it's like, I work so hard. And sometimes I literally cry because it's just like I work so hard, and the patience that it takes. You know what I mean? Like, I've only been working this hard for a few months. So that's why I made the comment to you earlier. It's like you have such patience, such drive, and it's infectious.
Absolutely. And for me, seeing is believing, definitely, because the first time I met a millionaire in real life, I was like, what do you do? Up at this point, I thought you had to play sports or either be an entertainer to, I guess, amass $1 million or more. And the guy was like, I'm just a doctor. I was like, wait, doctors be making money like that? And once I saw it, I was like, so wait, anybody can make $1 million? It changed my life.
Now that you throw that out there, anyone can make $1 million. I just want to touch on something. We were driving around the other day, and, I have been looking into passive income and all types of ways to make passive income and just in general, out of the norm ways to make money. And we're driving, and my husband sees this young adult driving this really fancy car. He's like, oh, his parents probably gave it to him. I said, nowadays, these kids aren't playing no games. They're out here making digital money. We got to learn something from them.
Man,
we don't know what he does. Yeah.
Man, they are building softwares and selling them and retiring instantly.
Yeah,
they're creating WhatsApps.
Yes. All of the above. And we're sitting here thinking, oh, mommy and daddy, his mom and dad could have gave it to him. I don't know him personally, didn't ask no questions. But I know, because I watch some of them on YouTube. I learn from some of them. They're 17, they're 20, they're 21, and they're teaching me.
And they know the stock market.
Yes.
Man, it's changed, man. The age of technology is upon us, and people can go and achieve things that may have took us 10 years to probably educate ourselves on, from library to library, encyclopedia to another. Oh, man, it's at their fingertips now. All they have to do is have the desire to seek it.
Desire. You spoke the right word. Because, another thing that actually bothers me, I don't mean to cut you off. It's just that you're talking such points, and it's just hitting me that my blog is basically a journal of me keeping my thoughts on things that I've learned and things that I have grown from. And it's always stressed me out that I have such drive. I mean, I've always had a drive. It's just I've not always had a drive to make myself better. And it's like people sit and they complain and they sit at their 9 to 5, they push pencils, and then they go, I wish I had. But you don't have ambition, you don't have desire, nor do you have the desire to have ambition or motivation.
Like it. Love it.
Like, what are you supposed to do? You're going to be stuck in the same position.
Right. Absolutely. And it is definitely that way. So what I tell myself is I can't give them 8 and give me 0. Like every day. I don't even care if it's like 10 minutes. Review that spreadsheet. Go over that paperwork one more time. Call one more person. Shoot out one more email. Even on the days I don't feel like doing anything because I'm completely drained, I am like, all right, I got to just shoot out an email to say that I did something. And then, I mean, at the end of the month, every weekday, that little effort amounted to 25 new contacts that I reached out to. So everything does count. Everything does count, even a little bit.
It does. And I always say, the drops in the bucket. I read The Slight Edge. That book for me is one of those life-changing books that you didn't realize was happening. The first time I talked to my dad about his business, he basically said it to me, and I don't think he's actually read the book, to be honest, but he said, you have to know that you're doing a little bit every day to get wherever you're going. So like you said, you bought the house, and then you had to apply for this, and then you had to do that. You didn't sit down all one day and do everything and then wait 4 years. You sat down and you pushed and you pushed and you pushed every single day. And that's very important, because when I sat back and I thought about it after you said that, and then I read the book explains we do that every day. We put a drop in the bucket every day, and soon it will be filled, and soon we will have exactly what we want. But if we don't put no drops in the bucket, it's never going to be filled. But a lot of people sit back and they go, I'm waiting for the rain to come. I'm waiting for the drops to happen. And it's you have to physically drop them in there. You have to make the moves to at least start the rain clouds.
Yeah. That's blood, sweat, and tears that you need to fill that thing up with. Not just fucking hope.
Hope. But it's so true. And that's, it's sad. It's really sad. It stresses me out, because I'm empathetic, or whatever you call it, when you're just I don't want you to suffer like I did. I don't want you to go through what I did. And God. I also don't want to hear it. I also don't want to hear it either.
Let me tell you now, don't do that. Don't even do that to yourself or to other people. And I'm saying this from experience, because I've invested in people, time and energy, and in some cases money, for something that they didn't even want. You can't want it for nobody. I'm not trying to tell you how to do it or what to do, but I'm just trying to say, don't do it.
I've had to step back. This has come to me in the last maybe 3 years. I've not even cut people off, but I've cut my feelings off towards it for that exact reason. And now it's I give people a little shove, like a little sweep, you want to, here's this, and this. And then, I'm do you want it? They don't want it. And I step back. And then, depending on their enthusiasm on the other end, then I'll go, okay, well, maybe this will be da-da-da. And I've learned to not invest so much, because you're right. I've invested time, my car, my, watching kids, and I don't mind watching the kids, but you know what I'm saying? You aren't doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I'm not going to take time out of my day doing so much that I need to do and invest in this person. But it's I'm empathetic, because it's I don't want to see you suffer. So I'm still going to say, hey, there's this website, there's this place, try this, look at that. But I don't push as much as I used to. Not anywhere near as much as I used to, because you're completely right. And sometimes my friends have to remind me. My very good friend, she had to remind me of that the other day. She just was like, LaShawna, it's not worth your energy, your time, because you know how you get, and And I'm like, you right. Nope. Step back.
And people, they will absolutely drain you if you're such a giving person like that. And now I'm dealing with someone now that's kind of oh, I want to do this, what I'm doing, and can you show me, can you teach me, this, can you that? And don't get me wrong, I had help along the way, so I'm definitely not the type that, hey, I'm not going to give back. But there has to be a limit to what I can and what I can't do for you, and especially if I give you tools and I point you in the right direction and you don't want to seek it. For example, I told someone, hey, you can find a lot of this information, and I sent this to this website, and I said, hey, you need to look this up, and then you need to apply for this application.
Did you do it yet?
You need to do that. No.
Did you do it yet?
You say, well, I don't know nothing about all this. Are you gonna learn it? Because that's going to be a major step. And if you're not willing to do that moving forward, I'm going to have to treat you as if I'm a consultant, and you're going to have to pay for the time that I'm trying to give you.
I keep saying this, and I'm I'm kind of not biding my time, but I'm trying to figure out where I want to go with it, because that is my point right now, is I've put so much energy, and I know I'm good at it, and I know it works. I've had a few people actually listen to me and actually benefit from my consultations. And the funny thing is, I've been like, for all the people that did it, I did it for free and they didn't pay me. It would be worth it if at least people paid me. So I am going to start marketing myself that way very soon, like this year, definitely.
You absolutely should. It'll cut out on a lot of time wasters.
Exactly. And I'd get paid for it at least. And so,
Right.
and yeah, like you said, the sheer fact of paying for it means you have a little bit more ambition. And my friends, I have a few friends that have actually benefited from what I've had to say, and they've utilized my techniques and things in various subjects because, I do a little bit of everything. And they have found actual success in those things. So I know what I say works. So they've actually told a few friends to contact me. And I said, well, I'm here to help if they want to contact me, but I'm not going to go out of my way to contact them for something that they want.
And follow up with them.
And follow up on something. You have to contact me. Anybody listening to this out there, if you want to talk to me, you have to make the DM, the email, something, because I have things going on. I need to have somebody in my inbox. I actually have somebody that I'm, emailing that is asking me questions, and that's fine. But if you're not going to go out your way, but you're going to ask somebody that doesn't know anything about what you're asking about, you're going to confide in this person, but you're not going to go out your way and talk to somebody that knows what they're doing. That makes no sense. And you're not going to get nowhere doing that. So it's like, I stress that all the time. Talk to people that, one, have your best interest in heart, because your friends, hopefully your friends aren't, against what you got going on. But like you said, you went to your brother had experience in whatever the heck you wanted to do, at least near it. And you didn't go to, my uncle and start asking him about that. No, you went to your brother who's done it, and you were smart about it. And that was your consultation. My dad actually paid someone to consult him on restaurant business. So it's like, we have to start talking to people that actually have those intentions, those, experiences.
Yep, absolutely.
I just can't. It's amazing. I have a few more questions. I'm not to run you too long, but I do have a few more quick, easy questions. We've kind of touched on, raising the family and everything. Have you ever found that you've had certain challenges because you have a family putting this business together, or it doesn't have to be on a negative side so much as challenges, like I said, my kid was hanging off of me trying to sew. That's not really, it was challenging.
No, not really. My wife has been very, very, very supportive of what
Beautiful.
I'm doing. And at any given moment, the group home that I'm doing is about maybe 2 hours from where I live. So sometimes I have to be down there at a moment's notice to take some meetings or try to set up a tour of the house. And I'm just like, hey, babe, I have to go down to Petersburg. And she's like, okay. We don't even have to discuss it,
Beautiful. That's how it should be.
She just knows, and not to sound any type of way, she knows her part of this journey with me. And people are like, you do all the business stuff on your own, and you don't have a prenup. What if you really blow up and da-da-da-da-da? You worried about your wife getting 50%? Absolutely not.
Wow.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. She probably deserves it whenever it does happen, because, yeah, I'm doing a lot of things on the business, physical side of it. But however, though, she is my emotional and my mental support, and I wouldn't be able to do that without her. So, yeah, she's the yin to the yang. I don't care if she never picks up a pen or paper, as long as she provides me the opportunity to succeed stress-free of the kid situation,
Beautiful.
knowing that she's the mother that she needs to be, then, yeah, she's absolutely contributing to it. And at the end of the day, she'll always be the mother of my kids, so she does deserve whatever I had in life as well.
I have to agree with that 100%, because not only did I watch it growing up with my grandmother, my grandmother actually worked for my grandfather and worked for him I don't know if he actually paid her like a separate pay, but she actually was, his secretary and his, errand runner and everything. And so I've always looked at that as like, well, if my significant other has a passion to do something, what do you need help with? What do you need? And I tell my husband this every day, whatever you want to do. He comes to me and is like, oh, I want to do this, or, oh, I have to do this. And, like he just went back to school. Okay, well, what do you need? Well, have you done this? Do you need help with that? Like, that's what a wife is supposed supposed to do. It doesn't even matter what your wife or husband, but when your significant other has something that they are passionate about, or you need to succeed and you need to be there for them. My husband did the same thing. As soon as I said I wanted to start this podcast, he bought me a microphone. He bought me the microphone for it because he knew that, he knows how I am. I'm going to do it.
You're serious.
Exactly. And so I've always thought that that's how that's supposed to be. So when I hear other stories, it's like, it's sad. It's scary. You know what I mean? I'm glad she understands that. I know there are times, when my husband has to go away for work that I'm like, I'm sitting here, for months with the kids and I'm just like, yeah. You know what I mean? And it's stressful, but I'm gonna, I have to do what I have to do. You know what I mean?
Everybody has a part to play. And sometimes it's not the most glorious role.
Glorious.
You know what I mean? It might not be, but, you'll be called up. And then guess who's going to be a supporting cast for you? It'll be me.
I love that.
I'm going to be cheering. I'm going to have a pom-poms and everything. I'm going to be like Alex Rodriguez, how he cheers on Jennifer Lopez. He is definitely her personal cheerleader. That's how I'm trying to support my wife with anything she wants to do. And
yeah, I need to see that on both sides. Like, I really appreciate, and so I know that you're putting out another king into the world. I really appreciate how, you're young and you're completely there for your family. You're completely there. You're striving to do better in the world. And we as African American people, we don't see that enough. It's not blasted enough. And I know we grew up in the same area. We know how it is. We didn't see that. We did not see that growing up. And for you to be that beacon, not only to your son, but more people are going to see that, and you're raising somebody, because I'm raising girls right now. You're raising one girl. I'm raising two girls. I need to know that I'm setting them out into the world. I'm not worried about a man like that, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see these things that have been happening that we grew up seeing to happen, or them to be around. We need more of that. I always like to showcase that for people. Like, wait a minute, lights, arrows pointing this way. This person's doing the doggone thing, like right here. Everybody needs to know about it. So that's another reason why I wanted to do this interview with you, because like, we don't get enough play. You're doing this on your own. You're doing this, not under wraps, but like, you're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for applause, but you deserve applause. She deserves applause. How do you promote yourself for Shore Support? Like, what ways have you run your promotion, or will you run run your promotions?
Well, I'm going to reach out to people individually, try to get build a personal relationship with a lot of the influencers in this industry and make sure that I'm on top of it. So the best way to, I guess, promote yourself in this business is by your work. However, you get caught in one of those situations where somebody's trying to get a job, you need experience to get the job, you need a job to get experience. So we get caught in that. So at this point, it's kind of like building relationships, kind of letting your professionalism speak for your company and making sure that you're representing your brand and your marketing. So right now, what I'm doing is, I guess, peer-to-peer kind of relationships where I'm going to meet people and I'm actually handing them my marketing material. I'm saying, hey, I'm the owner of the business. I'm taking time to come out and whatever. And sometimes it's the kind of industry where you have to sell yourself to people that are decision makers. So I'm even doing dinners and sending people like, hey, this is a reminder. Have a great day. I have to do stuff like that.
That makes sense. That's in any business. You have to kind of be a salesman for yourself and promote it and
Absolutely.
Things like that. So that makes sense. And I mean, it's just slightly different, but yeah, you would still peer-to-peer would work probably a lot better, because I mean, you can't just put a commercial on for something like your group, your group home. Okay.
Right.
Well, what media? I always like to ask people in business, because I'm a big reader, podcast. You know how I am, big on knowledge and learning. What type of media do you consume for your motivation or just learning in general, self-development?
The media that I consume, mostly articles, I guess. I read a lot of articles. I read some books, and media mostly I like to read articles. I do some books here and there if I feel that they fit what I'm looking for. Right now, as far as book goes, I'm actually currently reading Jesus Christ, the name of it. Who ate my cheese? Who moved my cheese?
Oh, Who Moved
Man.
My Cheese?
There
I
we
actually
go.
read that.
Who moved my cheese?
I actually read that when I was in the 6th grade. Mommy made me read that book.
What? See, I wish my mom was doing that. That's
and Rich
great.
Dad, Poor Dad.
Yes,
And
yes.
like 2 or 3 other ones, yeah.
My brother made me read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and The Secret.
Oh, yeah, I didn't read that until I was probably about 18 or 19.
The Secret is oddly...
Have you seen my just two seconds pause? I have a playlist on YouTube that actually has the link to the first Secret, if you can't get it on Netflix or whatever. And there's like 2 or 3 more Secret extension documentaries where those people come back on, they use different people, and they talk about their version of the Secret and everything like that. So just FYI, if y'all want to check that out.
I didn't even know that it was a documentary, period. I only just read the book.
Yeah, there's a documentary for it. I'll send you the link and I'll put it in the show notes here for everybody that wants to see that.
Yeah. And for other motivational things, I actually like to listen to a few speakers while I'm doing a couple things around the house. I just put on my headphones and like listen to Eric Thomas. Man, that guy pumps me up big time.
Eric Thomas, I'm going to have to look him up.
Oh, man, huge motivator. He has a big one. You go out to the meet me in the ocean. And you come out here and he hosts this guy underwater and he basically says, what do you want to do? What do you want to do most? And then the guy came up, he said, I wanted to breathe. And he said, until you want to succeed as much as you want to breathe, you'll never be successful. And he just has all kinds of tidbits like that. He's great.
Eric Thompson. Okay, I just subscribed to his channel on YouTube, so I'll be listening to him later. Thank you for telling me. Definitely. Okay. Well, that was all those type. Well, no, I take it back. I have one more question. Then I just want to know where people can reach out to you. But what are your long-term goals with either this business or just in general?
Long-term, I hope to open several homes and then expand my services to not just be group homes, but to spread out more. Probably I can get into something that's geriatric and hospice care and counseling services. And right now, one of my more immediate goals is to set up some type of district or regionally recognized Special Olympics for the community in our area.
Those are some big goals. And just seeing what you've done in the last 3 years, I already know that you're going to reach them.
I hope so.
I'm going to speak that blessing because I already hear it's going to happen. But that's amazing. Like, that's really amazing.
I'm having a party with some of my friends pretty soon where we're just doing what we call a vision board party. You know, everybody brings several magazines and we get the posters and we got the glue sticks and we just gonna sit there, have a couple drinks and do some cutouts and let's do a 5-year vision board. I'm
so jealous. I really want to run a vision board party. That's in the near future for me too. It's a vision board party for kids. For kids. So I'm thinking next year I'll probably make it a thing. I'm going to do a curated vision board just for myself coming up, you know, and I'll probably post that on YouTube. And then going forward, I have another cousin that actually has done her own. I'm going to have her on the show as well next week. And she also did vision board parties and for kids, specifically like vision board parties for mommy and me. You know,
I didn't even know it was a thing, period.
Right? I actually saw one on Instagram, and that's what sparked my attention because I have tried to do a vision board party with my oldest, with Leilani, and, you know, she was much younger, so I'm like, well, she's older now, so I want to do that, you know, in the future and see if, you know, I can make it a thing in the future for my friends. You know, they spend like $10 and I have all the goodies for them. Right. And, you know, get a venue and make it a thing, like make it a big thing.
Right. And, man, not only are they building like social skills, but they're also like looking ahead nowadays.
Exactly.
Everybody's online.
Exactly. Exactly. You understand. So that's also in the works for me. Just throwing that out there. I love that you said the vision board thing. That's huge. And I always like to tell people, like, write things down, because writing things down will get you the goals that, will help you get to your goals. And for me, I didn't know what I really wanted on my vision board. There was like a few things I could grab out of the sky, but I actually, the other day, I sat down and I wrote down exactly what I wanted on my vision board, because these are the things that I want, so that I have something to go on. Because I think sometimes when we make vision boards, we're like, of course we want money and travel and this and that, but we have to be more specific on our goals. And there's a girl on YouTube that's called Amber Scholl, and she does more of I call it a curated vision board. So what she does is, if you have a printer, or if you can, she actually goes to like Walgreens or whatever and prints out photoshopped versions of what she wants to see. So if you want to build your, I'm going to just say social media. So she prints out a picture of her social media with the number underneath it that she wants. And she has been so successful in the last 2 years of being on YouTube, being a social media influencer and all of that, that I was like, okay, that's what I have to do, because we have to be specific on the goals we want. Yes, you want a car, but what car do you want? What color does it need to be? All of that in a bag of Doritos.
Absolutely. So I have certain things that I feel like I am good at and I can do great for other people and for their business, that sometimes I don't necessarily like execute well for myself, or maybe that's just me being tough on myself. Like, there's I guess a trade-off you have to have in business for what you're willing to pay for and what you're willing to do yourself. What matters more? So I actually did my company's website, and I had someone reach out to me today that was asking, hey, do you know where I can get my website done? And by who? And I was like, I can't help you with that. I did my own. It was like, wait, what? I was on your website. It's great. Wait, you're the person I need to talk to. And I'm like, no. I mean, I appreciate it, but no, I'm not that person. So there we go with the whole time balance thing. Like, I just can't do it.
This is true. If you can't, I was talking with my father about that. Like, if you're going to waste time learning or doing something long term, you have to like find somebody else to do it. They need to, either figure it out themselves, or they need to find that person. But if you're having a hard time yourself, you don't need to extend yourself any further than you already have.
Yeah, I was telling him I eventually want to add a company blog to the website that I keep updated on the company's growth, and to particularly answer questions that family members may have about the services. And, also to build SEO ranking as well.
Ooh, somebody's been doing research. Or is that business class? Is that business class kicking in?
Oh, man. Come on, man. I was like, we also want to rank with our SEO, so we need as many things as we can tie back to the platform. And having a blog, it can't hurt anyway. So I was telling my cousin that these are the things, I'm sorry, not my cousin, I was telling my friend, these are the things that I wanted to do, which is why I felt like I needed to learn how to manage my website, because I will be paying someone too much of a maintenance fee to do these changes for me daily, weekly, or whenever. So I told him I felt like that was one of the things that I had to learn over the amount of time that I was putting in. It would pay off in the long run. And I just don't know if I can do that for him, because that was a personal learning choice, not a business learning choice.
Oh, that makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense. Okay. Some good things. So we have a blog in the works that's coming soon.
Yeah, no, it already happened. I actually did the first blog. It relates to the effects of patience and how it affects your business.
This is beautiful. So I just want to I have some things that I'm going to send you based on like promoting your blog and everything like that. I'm going to send you some groups from Facebook and things like that. And unless you already have that, and I have a program I've been using that you can start off for free, and actually part of it you can use for free always. But of course there's like a little limitation, but I'll show you those things. And I'll actually leave those in the show notes for anybody that is looking to start a blog. some things that will help promote a blog, or you started a blog and you need help promoting the blog. So I'll leave that down there, and I'll send those to you as well.
This is time versus money thing. I don't know if I have the time to do that. So
it's automated. It's something that you can take an hour out of your day, set it and forget it. Like once a week if you really needed to. Once a month even. I would have to set it and forget it once a week. Maybe this might be a case where you can be a consultant. I can just be like, hey, sure,
you do these things. Maybe you can do these things, and I can focus on doing my business.
I'm here for that. I'll still show it to you, and you see from there if you need that. But I'm here for you, and that's definitely a thing. So
that's a service I'd pay for.
I love it. I'm here for it. I'm here for all of that. Last but not least, we've got so much good information on this. Where can people reach out to you for services from you to be in your group home or help you or what have you?
www.shoresupportinc.com. That is SURESUPPORTINC.com. And once you get to our website, it is also connected to all of our social media outlets, which is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube as well.
So are all your social media socials Shore Support?
Yes, they are. They are Shore Support Inc. Yes. There's some variations of maybe there's an underscore on Shore Support. They're not Shore Support Inc. All of my social medias are Shore Support. So
okay.
Yes.
I'll link all that in the show notes anyway. Okay, awesome. Well, Raynard, thank you so much for joining me and, being a part of this and giving such great information. And thank you for having the time to kind of have it go a little bit longer than expected. I really appreciated talking to you. Do you have any last things to say or any good words of wisdom?
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And hopefully we can do this again and we can, I guess, do an update and check some progress.
I would love to. We will definitely schedule that out. We will definitely do an update video or update podcast. Awesome. Thank you so much again. And you have an awesome day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the Raising Bosses podcast. I hope you enjoyed, and please tell your friends and family. Go ahead and share this podcast on social media. If you or someone you know would like to be a part of this podcast, please email us at raisingbosses@gmail.com, or you could DM us on all our social medias, our Raising Bosses on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you and goodbye.